Hello, Aldwyn Altuney here with the amazing Loretta McNary, all the way from Tennessee in the United States of America. We have a global media personality with us today. She has over 18 combined years of on-air television and radio experience on national, regional, and local stations, as well as global media platforms, including Comcast, Time Warner, ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. In July 2021, Loretta and her team launched McNary Media Network, a global streaming network with 7 channels. Whether she's on the red carpet in the studio or on location, Loretta enjoys interviewing celebrities, sport personalities, political figures, thought leaders, industry experts, faith-based leaders, and everyday heroes doing great things to make life better for others. Her mission is always to inspire others by sharing amazing stories to inspire more amazing stories. She created the Kindle Awards Gala in 2009, an annual black tie event that honors and celebrates unsung heroes both locally and nationally. She's the founder and executive director of Pink Eagles, Inc., a nonprofit leadership development and mentoring organization for girls aged 4 to 19. And she's also the founder of Power Up, a monthly networking organization for professionals. Her favorite quote for living a great life is think positive, dream big dreams, and help others along the way. And her favorite scripture is to whom much is given, much is required. Oh, I love that from Luke 12:48. Welcome, Loretta. What an honor. So great to have you here.
Wow, thank you. I was like, who is that lady? I want to meet her. You did such a fabulous job. Thank you.
Amazing. Wow, you have achieved so much. What an amazing story you must have. I'm really curious about how this all started for you. Where did it all start? Where did your fascination for the media come from? Love to hear your whole story. So where did it all begin?
Oh, wow. Long story short, it began 1999. I was home. My dad had passed in February, and this was February. I got a call from a program director, VP at a radio station. He had read an article that I'd written for a community paper and said he wanted to talk to me about a potential standby opportunity if I could speak as well as I could write. And I was like, yeah, speaking is my thing. Writing takes a little more time because I'm writing and editing. It takes longer. So we had our meeting. He asked me to bring a tape of my voice of stuff I'd done. I didn't have a tape, right? I never thought about radio. So I got the job. And so they hired me as a standby. 2 weeks later, I got my own show full time on radio on Sundays from 2 to 5 or something like that. It became number one out of like 28 stations. It was crazy.
Wow.
And people kept saying, hey, Loretta, your voice is really beautiful. You should be on TV. Well, I'm a happy, proud mom of 5 amazing sons, right? Wow. And I still carry baby weight from the baby who's 23.
Oh, wow.
I didn't want to be on TV. He wasn't 23 at the time. He was like 10 or something. And so I kept turning down opportunities to be on TV because I was so concerned about, TV adds 15 pounds, seriously. And so the Lord spoke in my spirit. He said, what's more important to you, your vanity or my message through you? So here we are. His message through me is more important than my vanity.
Wow. So and how old were you? How old were you when you had that radio show?
This was in I was in my late, probably 30s, in my 30s.
Right. Amazing. And now you've got a global media empire and
radio show to global media empire. Yes.
Wow. And I bet you've had some amazing highlights in that time and interviewed some phenomenal people. Are there any standout interviews for you or standout moments in your media career?
Oh my. Year one, I found out about award show credentialing, that you could actually become credentialed to cover an award show on the red carpet. Now, I never knew anybody who had this opportunity. All I saw was the major ABC, CBS, the major Oprahs, the international shows, right, covering these Oscars and Image Awards and Country Music Awards. So I applied. I knew it was behind schedule. There was this gospel music award called Stellar Award in Nashville, which is not far from me. And I said, I just want to see what they say and how I can prepare for next year. Well, even though I was past the deadline, Aldwyn, they credentialed me to come.
Oh,
So here I am on the red carpet, my very first time, don't know what to do. So I just started looking around and started doing some of the stuff I saw people were doing. You know, I had my microphone, had my camera guy. We were trying to figure out who the person was so we could ask intelligent questions. And with that, I said, well, I wonder what else I can get. So again, same thing, passed a media credentialing deadline for the NAACP Image Awards in Los Angeles. I said, let me just see. I got credentialed.
Amazing.
And my standout interview was with Denzel Washington. It was at the end of the night. We had been on the red carpet with international celebrity media hosts all around the world, right? Here I am, McNary, Loretta McNary, second red carpet ever. And somebody I had befriended from LA got me the interview with him. And I'll never forget it. I still have the picture. It's not a good picture of me, but it's an amazing picture of him, right? He makes everything look good. So yeah, and it's been that kind of thing the whole time I've been on air.
Wow, I love Denzel Washington. I must say he's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I've also in my media career had the great fortune to interview people like Hugh Jackman, Russell Crowe, Cyndi Lauper, who I loved with her New York accent, and people like Debbie Harry from Blondie. And you know, these are people just like you and I. Yes, they're celebrities. You know, what is it from your experience? What is it that's made them celebrities, would you say?
I think the following, because the more people know your name, or if you're on TV or radio, people automatically say you are a celebrity, right? You haven't earned celebrity money. So celebrity is really not how much money you have. It is your influence. How many people know your name and appreciate, whether they appreciate you or not, it makes you a celebrity just because you're on the big screen TV or radio. So but for me, a celebrity is really those unsung heroes that I get to meet every day who are doing extraordinary feats and accomplishments sacrificially to help somebody else. I love sharing their stories that nobody ever heard their name before, but the work they do makes a huge impact in the life of somebody. Maybe it's not the world, like a nice film or a well-written PhD paper, but it is something that helps somebody along the way. And so I love all those stories. They all make up my brand. So from celebrity interviews to those people who nobody will ever probably remember their name, but they will remember their work or how they made them feel when they saw them on the show. So I think that's a celebrity, somebody who can tell their story well.
I love that. And there are so many unsung heroes out there doing phenomenal things. Now, here in Australia, we've just in the last week, we've had floods that have hit Brisbane, which is just about an hour north of where I am on the Gold Coast. And there's so many people coming in and helping and supporting and offering, you know, their time and their resources for free. You know, that's just here in Australia. And, you know, we know there's been a whole lot of hard times for people over the last 2 years. And so many people have also been reaching out to those who haven't been coping so well during this time. And I want to acknowledge and honor all those people out there right now who are doing that, you know, because there's a great saying that says there's no greater purpose than being of service. No greater purpose than being of service, right?
I totally agree.
It is so beautiful to be able to give and to offer. And, you know, what goes around comes around. And the law of reciprocity is, you know, you give, it comes back tenfold. If you give in a positive, in an enlightening way. Whereas if you take and if you're greedy, it will come back tenfold the other way, right? So everything we put out comes back depending on our vibration and our energy. Now, having 5 boys, you said 5 children, five children. Wow, and boys as well. I can just imagine what your household was like growing up. How did you cope with that?
Well, let me just say this. It wasn't what you would imagine, because I grew up with a mom and dad, even though I'm a single parent. And I never knew a single parent until I became one. But I did hear the negative stereotypes about being a single mother or father. And so I wanted to make sure I never fit in the stereotype, nor did my sons ever fit in the stereotype. So I always worked, you know, even in college, I was working, going to school. I raised my sons. We had excellence in everything we did. I made sure they went to the best schools. We lived in really great neighborhoods. I always had a new car. So I knew what I was up against, and that was stereotypes. My sons would not have had a fair chance had they been what people consider a single mom is. Unfortunately, some single moms don't have all the empowerment that I have. They don't have the tools and resources. They don't have the support system. And so maybe, nobody's a perfect parent regardless. Okay. Let me just clarify that. It wasn't perfect, but it was not chaos either, because I would take them out all the way. And people say, are they all yours? I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, how do you get them to come and sit down and eat dinner at a restaurant or go to the grocery store? I said, well, children, we're going to the restaurant, or we're going to the grocery store, or we're going to church. They didn't have options. They had to do what they were required to do. And discipline starts early, and it starts at home before it starts outside of the home. So I was very blessed and fortunate. God really smiled on me. If you saw, everybody falls in love with them. I'm Loretta McNary, this, whatever people think I am, right? But when I'm with them, I'm their mom. I'm just mom. That's Jacob's mom, Nicholas' mom, Spencer's mom, Marshall's mom, Brandon's mom. And so I lose that big TV show identity and become mom. And that is my highest and greatest title, to be their mom.
They say there's no greater love than the love of a child,
especially a son and a mom. I say that all the time. I'm like, is there such thing as loving me too much or me loving them too much? Then we may have crossed that line, because I adore them. They are my reasons for keep going when I wanted to quit all those times. And I actually, one of my sons died, so I have 4 living. I still count him because he's my son. So life hasn't always been a bed of roses, right? For anyone. But people assume if you're on TV, then your life must be the best life ever. And they want to be you. They want to be Oprah. They want to be Tom Hanks. They want to be Will Smith. They want to be Denzel. But life happens to them too. They just don't always share it. And life happens to me. I'm sure it happens to you too, Aldwyn. But we keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's right. Life is full of ups and downs, right? I call it like the roller coaster ride of life, right? We're going to have our highs. We're going to have our lows. We're going to feel like we're going round and round in circles sometimes. Sometimes we're going to feel like we're going backwards. Sometimes we need to slow down to speed up. Now, I'm really sorry to hear about your son. However, I'm really curious what happened to your son that passed away. Can I ask?
Yeah, he started having seizures, and the doctors and specialists from everywhere could not tell me why. And they would medicate him, and the medication would be, he would have very low quality of life. He'd be like dosed up, right? Drugged up. And then when he wasn't having a seizure, he was fine. He was quote unquote normal, as they say. And he knew how to swim. He loved basketball. I taught him how to drive. He wanted to own his own businesses. But then he'd have a seizure, and the older he got, the worse they became. And that's what happened one night in July 1999, the same year my dad died. A few months later, my son died. And I'm saying it now without crying, but I promise you that is the worst pain in the world. I don't think there's a greater pain other than maybe losing more than one child, but that first initial pain, it's the worst thing. And if I stay too long there, it will drag me back in, because he told me the day before he died I was going to be famous. And I'm like, I don't want to be famous. He said, but listen. I'm like, wait a minute, you just turned 16. Come on. Don't get out of control. And he said, listen, Mom, but you are. You just got to keep speaking. And I was doing a news magazine called Successful Single Parenting at the time. He told me to keep that out there. So what I learned over time was God was saying, keep my messaging out. No matter what, keep going. Don't give up, because that's what I'm put here to do. And I have my own special angel in heaven that's, cheering me on.
And I do believe that those who have passed are with us always. We're all here for, a limited time. Let's face it. A third of people die by the age of 65. A lot of people have stillbirths. So, thankfully you had 16 years with your boy.
Amazing years. If I had 116,000 million, it would not have been enough. But I'm very grateful and thankful for those years I had. Yeah.
And how did you move through that hard time where you lost your father and your son at the same time? How did you work through that?
I was in denial for years. I was a functioning manic depressive person, and I didn't know enough about how not to keep going. It was just like my spirit, the Lord was dragging me along. I was, after some time of being off work, I was going back to work, and my sons, because when I say I have the best sons in the world, I do. And they just all did what they had to do. I raised them for years from my bedroom. That's where I stayed in my bedroom all the time. And my family didn't know how depressed I was. My friends didn't know how depressed I was, but it was horrible. And the only reason I did not commit suicide was because I did not want my sons to find me dead.
Wow.
It was that painful. It was that painful. And I hadn't even said this publicly, what I just said. Every time I speak about it, I share a little more because I know people live in that right now. And they look at me and think, oh, if I just had her life. No, babe, you don't want my life. I promise you, you do not want my life. You want your life. And my dad used to say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I used to say, wow, that's crazy. But that is so true.
Yes, yes. Yeah. And, you know, if we stand in a place in life where we are 100% responsible for everything in our life, right, which can be a challenging place to stand. However, it does give you power over what happens. I'm getting quite emotional here, and I really feel for you because I can just imagine the pain that you felt in that. And, you know, the fact is that every single day people are dying. And in fact, during COVID, we've had now, you know, the stats are actually worldwide, about 1 million people a year take their own lives. And through COVID, that has increased 4 times through COVID. So there's a lot of people out there right now who are depressed, who are potentially suicidal, and who need to hear this message right now. And, you know, I can relate because I've had depression myself. I've been in those dark places where sometimes we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, you know?
But the thing is with suicide, and for anybody who's thinking about it, you know, most of us will say we've thought about it loosely, right? I didn't have a plan of how I would do. Well, when Brian died, I wanted to run in the middle of traffic and just end it all. I really did. But now what I've learned, and I've done a lot of research, I've gone to supported groups that deal with suicide awareness. They're trying to end the pain. And I heard somebody say this, I can't take credit for this, but it was so profound. You're not ending pain. You're just simply transferring that pain to the ones you leave behind.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
You don't give up the pain. You don't get rid of the pain by killing yourself. You are simply transferring that pain to your loved ones. And trust me, it may feel like people don't love you or don't know you exist, but they do. We know you. We see you. We see you. Just hang on, hold on, talk to somebody. And it's a spirit like that is so aggressive that it gets you by yourself. I heard one, I was at a suicide awareness national meeting, and this one person was saying it'll make you feel like it's your sane voice talking. So you're really not going to do it. Just try, just take the pill. You're going to wake up, but just practice. You're not going to really kill yourself. And so the enemy is he's super intelligent. He thinks he's brilliant, but it's old tricks, right, that he's doing. But so I take it serious when people are depressed and when they don't want to get up and see or face the day or whatever's going on. But I promise you, if you hold on and you get somebody to talk to professionally or personally, that we can help you get past that dark place. It's again, you're not getting rid of your pain. You're transferring it to somebody that loves you.
Wow, so powerful. And of course, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel, because at the end of every breakdown, there's always a breakthrough. But it's just a matter of, are you willing to go through that pain? And we do need to feel the emotions. I believe they say that the healing is in the feeling. So it's important to feel those emotions and to have those times of grief and sadness, and you know, and of course, memories come in waves when people die. And I've had 4 friends who have suicided by the age of 45, which is why I'm so passionate about getting more truth and good news out in the world, to lift the vibration on the planet. Because growing up for me, you know, my dad always watched the news. He watched the mainstream news like 2 hours a night of different news channels. And I ended up really depressed. I ended up, you know, why is the world like this? Why are people so nasty? You know, however, as much, you know, it's like the yin yang of life. It's like, yes, you do have your evil forces out there, but we also have the light forces. And I believe now the light forces are rising, you know, more than ever, because we've had a very corrupt system and a lot of very evil people in power in the traditional sense. And now the people are rising up and saying enough is enough. Yeah. Right.
And that is a beautiful feeling. It's a beautiful place to be. Yeah. COVID, the pandemic, all that was the most devastating thing we'll hopefully ever see in our lifetime. Hopefully we won't see anything more devastating than that. But what it did, if you look at it, there was a lot of good that came out of it. Would I wish that on us again? Never. Not at all the good. I pivoted. I launched some stuff. I lost a lot of loved ones. I hurt. I felt the pain of loved ones who were with COVID or who lost somebody from COVID. But anything, again, that doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And
Yes.
you have to
Yes.
deal with it because that's out of our control. There's nothing any of us can do other than, wear your mask, keep your hand sanitizer, get the vaccination if that's what works for you, right? Everybody gets to make that decision. I chose to be fully vaccinated. But whatever works for somebody, I'm not going to point fingers. I'm not going to put somebody down because they chose something different from me, because this is America. This is, you get to choose, right? Right or wrong. We all get to choose, but do something. And then those who are us who know the value of light, our own personal light, and how when we shine it, nothing can get rid of darkness but light. It's like only love can conquer hate. It's not the opposite, is the absence of. Hate is the absence of somebody's loving somebody or them not knowing enough about something. So if we who get it, let our light shine more, you'll see more of that. You'll see the decrease in suicide. We got to let people that we love know we love them and find the way that speaks to them, because what happens, Aldwyn, we love people the way we want to be loved, which means nothing to them. Like, one of my sons, his love language is buy him gifts. Another one is spend quality time. So if I ever try to buy gifts for the one who likes me to just hang out with him, he's going to feel unloved. And if I just hang out with the one who wants gifts all the time, he's going to feel unloved. So you have to love the people that you love the way they need to be loved, not the way you want to be loved yourself. And then tell people how to love you. Or show
Yes, the 5 love languages, so powerful.
I love it. It's so profound. That's what helped me be a better parent. It changed my entire trajectory as a mom, as a business owner, as a daughter, when I read Gary Chapman's The 5 Love Languages. I still believe in that work to this day.
Yes, totally. And I see that as well. And, we tend to attract people who are opposite love languages to us, right? So it's,
and then get angry when they don't love us, right? But we won't say a word. The Louis Vuitton is fine, but hey, can we just have a night in where it's us just talking? The trip to Paris was fine. I promise you it was. But my love language is quality time and affirmation. So
yes, beautiful. And I know with pets, I have a cat which I adopted 12 years ago, and I am sure with pets, their love language across the board would be quality time, right? Because they can't do much with gifts, right?
No.
Well, acts of service they probably like too, if you pat them and massage them, and and I know that my cat gets anxious when I'm away from home for too long, and when I come home, I just cuddle him and give him lots of attention, and he's happy as Larry, as they say here in Australia. Happy as Larry.
Oh my goodness, happy as Larry. So I guess Larry is super happy, huh? My brother's name is Larry, and my sister's name is Wanda. In case they're watching this, they said, well, you called his name and you didn't call mine. So you see, I named all 5 sons, right? Because heaven forbid I forget somebody and somebody watched it, they didn't hear it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's right. I mean, they could be scarred for life, right? If you don't mention their name. I mean, hey, you just don't know,
Turn a good day bad.
Yeah. So now our topic today, I'm really excited about this: how to grow, glow, and flow as a woman. Of course, we have International Women's Day coming up in just 6 days on the 8th of March, and we have Queensland Women's Week also from the 3rd to the 13th of March, which is starting tomorrow as well. So, I love this topic, and I can't wait to hear from you, your tips on how to grow, glow, and flow as a woman.
Oh my goodness. I remember when we had that conversation, what we're going to call our conversation, because I knew it was going to be profound. I knew it was going to be impactful. I knew our conversation would be inspiring and effective. So all of this is helping us to grow, because people think, well, this is just the way I am. It's a good thing. No, if you're the same, I'm not even the same person I was last month. I can see where I've grown in some areas, whether it was more financially savvy, more spiritually conscious, more aware of how I'm feeling mentally and physically. I've changed. I've grown. So if you're so happy and proud that you're the same as you were, 10 years ago, then I challenge you. Why? Because knowledge is power, but the use of knowledge, the application of now knowledge is more powerful. So are you applying what you've learned? And surely you've learned something over the last 10 years or 5 years or 3, or even in this pandemic. I want to talk to somebody who feels like they have not grown at all in this pandemic. I need to have a conversation with them so I can help them see how they have grown, because you're here, you survived. Number one, that shows you are a survivor, because a lot of people weren't able to take all of the bad news and all of the scary conversations, and they just wanted to get away and transfer the pain. So if you're still here, I can have a conversation with you, and I can listen to you, and I can share probably 5 to 10 ways you changed. So if we don't acknowledge that growth and champion it and celebrate it, then that leads to depression and comparing. So now you're comparing my best day that I'm sharing with you with your worst day. And that leads to depression, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, no ambition. You just want to give up, and you keep saying questions, why God made me like this? Well, he gave us all a measure of faith, and he said he'll give us all wisdom. All we have to do is ask. And he loves us all equally. He reigns on the just and the unjust. The sun shines for the good and the bad people. So that means he did not leave you out with the wisdom, with his love, with talents and gifts. All of us have them, but we still have to nurture those things. So I talked about grow, and now the glow part. I love the glow part. Aldwyn, do you want to share yours first on how we all are? Because we talked about our light. And the glow comes from loving who you are. And you don't have to say I'm perfect, or you don't have to count all the things you don't like about yourself, because I have a list of things too, probably 10 fingers worth of stuff that I don't like or trying to change or tried to change, but I embrace it all. So that enhances my internal love for myself, which creates a glow that you see.
And that internal love is abundant all around us, all within us. And something that's been really transformational for me has been this diagram right here. This is Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness. Now it was scientifically proven about 100 years ago that Dr. Hawkins actually proved that we are 99.9 and another 8/9% energy, frequency, and vibration. And when we get into different emotions, we vibrate at different frequencies. So you know how people say, oh, some people just not on the same wavelength, we're not on the same, and it's actually, yes, that's exactly true, because some people are vibrating. In fact, the world right now is vibrating down here. It's vibrating in fear. And fear is at 100 hertz you're vibrating at when you're in fear down here. Your lowest vibration you will feel is shame at 20 and guilt at 30, right? Anger, when you get angry, you're vibrating at 150 hertz. Whereas when you get into love and above, love is vibrating at 528 hertz. Joy and gratitude, you're at 540 hertz. Peace, so when people meditate, when you get into a peaceful state, you're at 600. And enlightenment is the highest vibration you will feel at 700 to 1,000 hertz at the one time. And this all relates to our chakra points, which is not woo-woo. This is all scientifically proven too. And a lot of people are stuck in this lower vibration, right? And that's why a lot of people have issues with their gut from the gut down, right? And you know, this is so powerful. You can research it, Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness. And I want to thank Dr. Espen for bringing that to my attention. I had heard about this before, but it wasn't until I saw that diagram that it really hit home. And now I am so conscious of where am I vibrating at? Wow. And you know, as Dr. Espen says, he says, you know, one flower doesn't look at another flower and say, oh, you're really ugly, you know, like that. Whereas, you know, we have abundance and beauty all around, yet why is it that people can be so cruel to other people? And what I've worked out is that hurt people hurt people. And it's when you come into that love, as you mentioned, when you really own everything about yourself, love yourself unconditionally, just as the creator, as source, as whatever you want to call God, loves us, you know, just as we have that love all around us. Unfortunately, in life and through mainstream media, we've seen a lot of fear-based messaging. We've seen a lot of media programming, and with fear, it's divide and rule. How do people conquer and control the masses? They divide and rule through fear. And we've seen that through COVID. We've seen it through, you know, now we've got Russia attacking Ukraine. And, you know, I've got family in the Ukraine, and my heart goes out to everyone, because there's no winners in war. There are no winners in war. We're all on the planet together. And to glow, it's about that self-love. If you want love in your life, love yourself unconditionally. And I'm happy to say, Loretta, since I've been doing a lot of quantum work lately, I've actually committed to a man for the first time in 7 years. And I have a beautiful relationship now with a lovely man called Robert, and we're just very, very happy together. However, for a long time, I had intimacy issues. I had fear of getting too close to people because I had an ex-boyfriend when I was 22 who strangled me and almost killed me. And I had several experiences where I couldn't trust men. I felt I couldn't trust. I saw my boyfriend sleep with my best friend in front of me at 16, etc. So what happens in life, something happens, we give it meaning. Something happens, we give it meaning, as they say in Landmark, right? Something happens, we give it meaning. And then what happens, whatever meaning we give to things, we go and attract those situations again and again to prove our story right about whatever we believe.
Yep. And the flip side of that is, if you change it and operate from a sense of love and faith, then you change the messaging, and that's what you get more of that. That's how you get more of that. Because people say, well, Loretta, why are you always so happy? Because I want to attract happiness. That's why I want my frequency to go out and bring me other happiness. Because gossip and negativity is so contagious. You will find yourself talking to somebody, and then all of a sudden you'll start doing that too. And I have to watch myself and pull it back, because it will easily draw you into the rabbit hole. And so the only way to really combat that is to not hang around people too much, or to go all the way in and saying, you know what, I'm not going to let them project that negativity into my spirit. Now you can do it at a cellular level, above your skin, and hopefully you'll be okay. But we tend to let people project things to us, and we internalize it. So that's when you start talking about people being negative and gossiping and saying, and then they'll say, this is bad grammar, but this is what people say: if it ain't one thing, is another. Do they say that in Australia?
Yes, they do. They do. Okay. Yes, they do. It's not, well, they don't quite say ain't. They say if it's not one thing, it's another.
Yeah. And I'm like, you just spoke that. You just declared what you want to happen. Words are so powerful.
Yes.
They're so powerful.
Yes.
They're our paintbrushes. They're our tools to create with. We can either create or destroy with our words. And absolutely. I am so into that I humor myself just in case. I always want an air of, this is what I really want. I'm not wasting my words on stuff I don't want. And so that leads back to your relationship. Why you said you had trust issues and intimacy issues. And that's because you kept sending out that frequency. And when they say you attract what you are, that's why we get the same kind of guy. That's why you guys get the same kind of woman, because you're not over that last one, although you said it's not what you want, but you keep attracting it because you haven't dealt with what was that frequency and that station that you had on it. And it was in your words and your actions. So you keep getting the same kind of woman you don't want. And women, you keep getting the same kind of guy that's not going to marry you, not going to commit to you, is not going to be there for you, always want you to be the giver. Right. So we have to be careful about that. And that's where the enlightenment comes, and the glow. Once you glow, then it's going to repel all that other stuff you don't want. But you have to be clear about what you really want to attract it.
Absolutely. And I think half the thing is getting conscious where we've been unconscious. We have 60,000 thoughts per day, the average human being, right? 60,000 thoughts per day. Of those, 90% are the same that we had yesterday, and 80% are negative for most people, right? Wow. So this is really interesting. So, the 80-20 rule of Pareto's principle, 80% of people out there currently are having a lot of negative thoughts. So, doing the inner work, I've invested a lot of money. I've invested $500,000 into my personal and business development since 2005, and I continue to invest. I have mentors, I have coaches. I'm continually playing a bigger game always. How can I have more impact? How can I show up as a better human being? And and the more we grow ourselves and not take things to heart. If someone's cruel to us, I used to be very empathic and very sensitive. When someone was nasty to me, I think, oh, what did I do wrong? And and try to please everyone. And then I realized it's not about me at all. It's actually about them. And so now when people are being nasty to me, what I do is I send them love. It doesn't mean I have to hang out with them. I just send them love, because no doubt they need it, right? And this
Yes.
could be happening for you right now watching this. Maybe someone's being nasty to you right now or not treating you on, just get that they're hurting people, right? And so, as they say, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink, right? And we can do the best we can to help people, but some people just don't want to be helped. Some people love to live in drama and they feel that their whole world needs to be drama, and they'll create drama no matter what. And so, as they say, you're either entering a room and you're lifting the vibration or you're lowering the vibration. So just get conscious, are people in your life lifting your vibration or are they bringing it down? Are you lifting people's vibration or are you bringing it down?
Yes. And I, when I was on the circuit, a speaker circuit, I used to say, are you allowing someone to fill your bucket or are they taking from your bucket? Yes. And so you always need to know where your bucket is so you yourself can pour into it, because you can't give out of an empty bucket. And so when I say bucket, is like your heart and your mind. So are people taking from you? Are they taking from you or are they adding value to you? And if they're always taking, at some point you have to grow so you can glow, and then we get to flow, right? You want to flow. Yes. It took me a long time to embrace that I was this talk show person. I still wanted to be the Loretta that people could accept and not always want to talk about what I did professionally. I wanted to be two people. And sometimes I had to divide myself into three people so people would feel comfortable around me. And so at some point, doing my spiritual growth, I had to decide God made me this way. And if I believe he is who he say he is, and he's not a man that he can lie, then I am her. I am that vibrant talk show person who loves encouraging people, inspiring people. I love hair. I love makeup. I love dresses. I love heels all the time. And I don't have to dial that down so other people will feel comfortable with me. I now have given myself permission to tell people, why don't you level up instead of expecting me to level down? I'm not leveling down. I'm not dimming my light. I'm not dimming my star. I'm going to be Loretta and keep growing, glowing, and flowing so I can bring that to me and help other people to do the same.
Love it. Wow. So powerful. You are amazing. I'm sure people compare you to Oprah, do they?
All the time.
And Oprah's phenomenal. What a phenomenal lady she is.
She, you know what? And I get the comparison, and it is the highest level of compliment in my business to be compared to Oprah. And I used to have people think I was Oprah, right? And I was like, this guy's like, I know you're her. I'm like, who? He's like, you're her. I'm going to let you be her. And I'll be in a library, a book, Barnes and Noble is where this happened. And he says, but I'm going to keep watching you. When you decide that you're her, can I have your autograph? And I never went over him because I'm not her. I'm not Oprah.
But you could easily be sisters because you actually do look like her as well. Like your face and, it's quite extraordinary. And, and the faith that you have too. I know Oprah is a very, spiritual, very faith-based lady as well. And, how important has that been for you in your journey to have a strong faith?
Oh my Lord, it's everything. If I'm nothing else, faith is my superpower. That's how I'll say it. My superpower is faith. I have crazy faith. I have faith that moves mountains. I've had faith. I am where I am because of my faith. Because there were times when I didn't believe in all of this stuff. I was just doing it because I wanted to please God. And everything I say I'm going to do, even in school, I had to be the best. I have to work in excellence. And because I love God so much, I want to continue to grow and continue to, to be better at my craft. Even though I've had my show for this is going into the 16th year, just celebrated 15 years of my own show, but I've been on TV on other shows, the other 18 to 20. But I have to believe it's possible. I have to. And I do. I even wrote a book about it.
I believe. What's your book called?
Faith for the Next Step and Hope for the Next Step.
Oh, I love that. Wow. And what are some little gems that are in your book? Can you share some of the gems?
Yeah. So Faith for the Next Step is 52 weeks of inspiration. So every week there's a different word. So I had to come up with 52 words and I had to talk about it, either sharing through my own personal story or a story I heard to talk. Maybe it was parenting. and how we can be better parents, how we can forgive ourselves, and the mistakes I made as a parent is in that book. Just having faith, how do you have faith that when you don't have enough money because you had to buy medicine for your child and now your whole monthly financial plan is in shambles, how do you keep going? And I promise you, everything I ever needed, I got. God sent it. Because my numbers financially weren't making sense when I was first getting started. I resigned from corporate America the first year into the show, and I did the show for like so long without corporate America. I didn't lose my house. I didn't lose my car. I still dressed and did the show, still traveled, still gave events, still participated in life, raised my boys, sent them to college. And it was because of faith. It wasn't because I was so great. It was because of his grace and his mercy, as the song says. It kept me, and it continues to keep me. And there's nothing I can't do. There is absolutely nothing, as long as I put in the work. Now, me wishing on a star and praying, that's not enough. I got to put in the work. Got to make it happen.
Yes, absolutely. And, we're all stars actually in our own way. It's just some people see it and some people don't, right? Some people step into that. And the thing is, your X factor is your story. Watching this right now, you are 1 in a billion just by being born. Yep. You've beaten about 1 billion swimmers to get to the finish line just by being born. So there's a reason you're here on the planet. Now, recently we lost the great Bob Proctor, right? He died at 87, and he worked right up until the end of his life because he loved what he did, right? He was on purpose. And there's a video on YouTube that actually people asked him, how do you find your purpose? And he said, just do what you love every single day. Do as much as you can of what you love. And I can tell, Loretta, that you absolutely love what you do. And, what is the most joy that you get when you're in flow and when you're interviewing people and doing what you do with the media?
Probably consistently I never script my show. I've never scripted my show. At one point I was hosting for Time Warner Cable. I was hosting for TBN, doing their Joy in Their Town, and I had my own show. So I'm hosting 3 shows at one time. Now, the TBN show did script. They gave us questions that we had to ask because of all the regulations and stuff. But my show, I never scripted. So people, when they start sitting back and relaxing with me and said, nobody's ever asked me that question. That's a good question, Loretta. Not where it stumped them, but it was just not your regular, how much money do you make? How was it working with Nicole Kidman? Or what's next for you? I wanted to know them as a person because I want to know what keeps you up at night. Because I know the person that's watching this may not have what you have, and they're up at night wondering if they're going to be able to make it tomorrow. So Denzel, Will Smith, whoever I'm interviewing, whether it's a NASCAR driver or NBA player or some thought leader, influencer, what keeps you up at night? What would you change in this world if you had the power? If you had a magic wand, what would you change? I'm curious to know that because I know people suffer with that. Not everybody's going to be an Oscar nominee. Not everybody's going to have their music, nominated for a Grammy. No, not everyone's going to be on TV but it takes all of us to make this world continue to go around, right? Yes. And every gift, every talent, every business, every book is important to somebody. And absolutely. We all want to reach one somebody at a time. That's why if my show inspires one person, it wasn't in vain. I'll keep going. Yes. But if it ever gets to the point when it's all about me and that I have a show, then I'm giving it up. Fast and hard, I'm dropping it. If it ever becomes about me.
I love that. Yeah, and a lot of people get hung up on, how many people view things or, numbers of followers online, etc. And yes, that is some indication of the impact that you're having. However, as you say, if you reach one person, inspire one person.
It's a small indication because let me tell you a personal story. And I was one of those people. I was like, I'm on TV, in about 60% of the country. I'm doing this. I know people know my name. I'll have 5 likes. So when I started looking at my optics, my analytics on my Loretta McNary show, it tells me that about 1,200 people saw my post like in an hour, but only 1 liked it. So, and then I'll meet people, oh, Loretta, I'm so proud of you. I really love your post, but they never liked it. They never shared it. They never commented, but they can tell me everything I post. So don't let it don't let it negate who you are and what you're doing and the impact that you're making, because somebody is not liking it, sharing it, or anything. Because, honey, everybody on social media has an audience, and some of us have a ton of people that will never like, post, or share. It's a thing about, because then they're not a friend, they're a fan, and nobody wants to be a fan of somebody that's down the street. But across the country, yeah, it works. You people want to be your fan. And that's in the Bible. A prophet is not recognized in his own town. That's why Jesus couldn't do miracles where he was from. And that's still true today. So I just want to encourage people, don't let the numbers cannot tell your story for you. And even people who have, because I'll look at it, Aldwyn, some people will have 100,000 followers and still have 1 or 2 likes. I'm like, do the math. Surely out of that 100,000. So don't get caught up in it, because some people are doing other stuff to get those numbers up. I'm not saying what they're doing because I don't know, but I don't want to have 100,000 followers and nobody's commenting. That's 98,000 plus people are not saying anything. I'd rather have my slow and steady across. And I have several Facebook pages because nobody wants to be a fan. They want to be my friend. So I have like 12 Facebook pages. So don't feel sorry if you see there's only 20 people watching my video, because there's 12 other pages just on Facebook, not to count Instagram and LinkedIn, which LinkedIn is my sweet spot. That's where I really glow and flow over there.
Yeah. And look, I'm so grateful you reached out to me on LinkedIn and interviewed me for your show, which I loved. And now I'm reciprocating, interviewing you. And, it's a beautiful win-win scenario. And, amazing. We can connect across the world like this and feel like we're in the same room together. It's a beautiful thing, and such is the power of the mass media nowadays. Now, I'm curious, I know in Australia, the media is a very male-dominated area, and it's been very challenging as a woman to step up in a very male-dominated field. How have you found it in America?
It's still male-dominated. Still very male-dominated.
Yeah.
But because of the power of the internet and Facebook Live and LinkedIn Live and Twitter Live, it gives us all, well, what the pandemic did on a professional level, it challenged me, it grew me, because I never wanted to have my show on internet, because I'm traditional TV, and to me, TV is king. I was like, that's beneath me. I don't want to do, internet TV. I did. Honey, I'm transparent. I tell you that. And then all of a sudden, here comes a pandemic, and I'm forced to do it. And I'm so glad that I'm on here, because it's truly opened up so many doors for me. It has increased my audience all over the world, and it truly has been a saving grace for a global streaming platform, because I have 19 countries already, and I just launched it in July, and I have subscribers and viewers in 19 countries already. And so that wouldn't happen if I wasn't doing Facebook Live or YouTube Live or Twitter Live or whatever. So it has its place, and it's a huge place right now. Everybody's on their phone. So I have apps. You can watch it on your phone too. So it's that traditional TV is king, girl. She's gone. She's grown up.
Yes.
She's glowing up and flowing up because of, TV.
Yes. And we're at a time now, with the mass media. I mean, Facebook only started in 2004, right? In 2018, we had 500,000 podcasts worldwide. Now we have 2.2 million plus podcasts. However, a lot of those are not monetized. And I love the fact that you are actually monetizing what you're doing. Can you give us some tips on how to monetize your show?
Oh, see, that again was a challenge. So I was trying to do it myself, number one, and that wasn't working, because that's like me trying to come off this side of the camera and work that side of the camera. I had to hire people who were good at that, because I was struggling. And so once I hired a team, and the beauty of being on TV or internet or whatever, people can literally work from anywhere in the world and support you. So I had to get people who knew how to monetize shows and my speaking and my books to help me. And you have to pay people to what they're good at. That's my whole philosophy. That's how I've grown again in another area. I don't try to do it all to save money, because I'm really losing money, because I could be doing something that I'm really strong in instead of trying to do sales or marketing or any of that. So I pay people to do it. And you can monetize. My podcast is on Anchor, and all of a sudden I was looking where I had money. I'm like, where I get money from? And all just because people are listening to the show that I don't even promote my podcast. So people will call my TV show my podcast, but this is not mine. Is not my podcast. My podcast is Loretta McNary Live on Anchor. It's an audio show. That's a podcast.
Yes.
And so all I have to do is keep putting content out there, and people are listening, and I'm making money, right?
Yes, amazing.
And you get your numbers up on anything, and now people are starting, but mine is not necessarily monetized from being online. Mine is from my advertisers, my sponsors, my books, my speaking gigs, my coaching, because I do media coaching, I do life coaching. So, you got to have all those, I say 7 channels of income, of revenue stream. So that's what I try for. I only have about 4 right now, but I usually try to have 7.
Yeah, fantastic. And, I also do media training as well. And the biggest thing I find that stops people is fear of stepping up. And particularly in Australia, we have this thing here where it's like rise to the middle. And there's this thing called the glass ceiling. And anyone who sort of rises above that or smashes through that glass ceiling, they get put down. And, that's why, hear that saying that it's lonely at the top, because it takes something to step up. And even with celebrities, no matter how big you are, the bigger you get, actually, you're going to have more people that love you and more people that hate you. Yes. And so I always say it's important to toughen yourself to criticism. So what do you say to your clients who have a lot of fear about stepping up? They know they've got a good service, product, message, but they're just so scared to get in front of the camera or so scared to share it. How do you coach them through that?
That's like thinking that the world is going to end tomorrow. What if it doesn't? Then what are you going to do? What if the world does not end tomorrow? So face your fear, because what if what you think is going to happen doesn't happen? And then better yet, what if it happens? What's the worst thing that can happen is what I ask them. And they'll say, I'll be embarrassed. I'm like, oh, wow. Then you're human like the rest of us. But if you continue to let fear stop you, you don't want to be embarrassed. You don't want to fail. You have to redefine what failure is, because I want you to fail, because that means you tried. The worst failure to me is when you don't try, when you let fear stop you because you have not tried. Then why? What? And you just keep dialing it down till they see, oh, it's all made up. And then people say, I wish I could write a book or a movie. You can, because if the phone rings at 10 o'clock at night, what happens? Oh my God, you got 50 scenarios on what happened, right? Somebody's in a car crash or somebody's sick or well, you could write a movie about that. But always think, again, just like our vibrations, and we said think positive. Well, when the phone rings, instead of thinking something's negative, think, oh, somebody won the lottery and they want to take me to pick out my private jet. So just like you were thinking all that negative, catastrophic kind of stuff was happening, you have to turn that around and make it into the picture that you want. So with your fear, and of course, people know this, false evidence appearing real, just keep dialing it down. They said, well, Loretta, I'm afraid I'll be embarrassed. Well, why? What's the worst thing can happen if you're embarrassed? You'll get over it. You won't die from being embarrassed. Oh, well, I don't have enough money. Okay, so what do you need money for? You have a laptop. Everybody in America, in the world, has a phone. So what else? Every objection, I give them a solution. So the next thing you know, here they are doing their own podcast or writing that book or, I'm going to help them birth that baby.
Love it. And love it. And that's exactly right. It is like every show is like your own baby. And, the energy you put behind that is so important. I love how you said earlier about filling your bucket. I often say to people, fill your own cup up and so you can help others with the overflow. Yeah. What are some other things you do in your life to help fill your cup or fill your bucket?
I'll have conversations with Loretta now, right? And there's not a show, although I do have a Mornings with Loretta show, a Loretta McNary show, and Loretta McNary Live, depending on what time I'm doing those things. So my thing now is, and I learned it from one of my guests that was on a couple of weeks ago, and I can't even think of her name, Yvette somebody. She says rose, thorn, and bud. So what's the rose, Loretta, in this situation? What is the good thing? So you can't just use, like a yes or a no to it, or you got to answer. What's the good thing about being on Aldwyn's show today? I got to talk to my friend. It feels like I've been knowing her forever. She is with my audience. I'm sharing her with my audience. She's sharing me with her audience. That's a rose. What's the thorn? We only get to talk for an hour. I want to talk more. Yes. And what's the bud? This is a budding relationship. She and I are going to do more things together and reach across the pond, as they say, to make sure that entrepreneurs have what they need, dreamers have have what they need. And those who are negative, we're going to make them positive. We're going to encourage them to become more positive and see how their life will grow, glow, and flow even better than they could imagine. So that's how I use things to have these conversations with myself. I use the rose, the thorn, and the bud.
Wow, I love that. I love that. And there's another great thing I heard recently about lessons in life. Lessons in life, you're either going to get hit with a feather, a brick, or a Mack truck, right?
Yeah.
So, the feather will come along and it'll, something will happen and you'll get a little warning. If you don't heed the warning on that thing, then you'll get the brick. And if you don't heed the warning on the brick, then you'll get the Mack truck will hit you, right? And that could come in the area of health. People who have health issues, often there's emotional things that are happening behind that. And, stresses, etc., are, really bad for your health to stress, right?
So, my God, it's the worst thing. It creates all these other sicknesses and disease. Stress does that. Not the air you breathe, not, overeating, although it's bad for you, but stress will kill you and make you ill faster than any of that stuff. So when you were saying that, I had this thought that came to my mind, and now I'm trying to see what it was because I wanted to share it. But it was along that vein of tomorrow's going to come whether you do something or not. 5 years is going to come whether you go for your dream or not. Why not go for it? Have something to show for your life and your thoughts. Otherwise, you know what? They said the graveyard is the wealthiest place in the world because of all those dreams that are there dead. Dreams are dead.
Absolutely.
We live on. We just transform. Our soul lives on forever. Our bodies are put in their grave, but dreams just are there. They're just dead. So try. Go for it. The worst thing that can happen is you'll become successful and you'll be on Aldwyn show talking about it. Conversation when we say, go for it. You got this. You can do this because there are resources. You have the internet, you have Google, you have YouTube University. You can YouTube anything and learn how to do anything from fly a plane to make homemade cornbread. There are resources. So I don't like it when people have excuses. Because I live in a no excuse zone every day. And I've taught my sons to do that too. I don't want to hear excuses. Do not start any conversation with an excuse because I promise you, I'm going to call it out on Front Street.
Yes, so important. Oh, I love that. I love that. And, of course, it's so great to connect with you across the world like this. And you could be famous one day and end up on Loretta's show as well if you're watching this right now. It is such an honor. And I love this collaboration we have of women lifting each other up because for a long time too, a lot of women put each other down and that's so unnecessary, right? Yeah. So actually women supporting each other, a lot more women's circles are coming together now. And the divine feminine, I believe, is rising. As much as we love the men in our lives, of course, it's a matter of more love right now.
And to show like women like you and your friends and me and my friends and us together, we are more intuitive and empowering than we are about tearing each other down. So that was the narrative. So we're changing the narrative now, especially with the pandemic. You're seeing more women live their life at a high level and bring other women with them. And we fight those battles for each other. So it is definitely not the year or the month for women. It is the century for women now. We're setting the tone so ladies behind us can grow, glow, and flow, and they can show other women behind them how to do the same. And we give homage to the women who we stand on their shoulders for doing it for us. Against all odds.
Yes, people like Maya Angelou's one of my favorites, and some phenomenal women over time who we've seen. Abraham Hicks. I love Abraham Hicks' work. If you're challenged financially right now, watch some Abraham Hicks abundance meditations on YouTube. And something I've been saying lately is money comes to me freely and abundantly. Money comes to me free, and be grateful for the money that goes out and for the money that comes in. Allowing
energy. All it is energy, and all we are servants. So whatever you're serving, you're the master of. So I'm the master of money. I don't work for money. Money works for me. And you have to look at it that way. So I know we got to go, but I've really enjoyed this time with you. I feel like I've grown. I feel like I'm glowing more and that I'll get to flow in my wholeness of who I am more because I had the conversation with you, Aldwyn. So thank you.
Oh, it's been amazing. And I actually do have a magic wand here. So, you mentioned that you asked people if they had a magic wand and they had one wish for the world, what would that be? So what would yours be, Loretta?
World peace, get rid of poverty, and people will just see that because my skin is different from hers, I love her dearly, and there's nothing I wouldn't do to help her. I never judge people on their skin tone, ever. It's the least thing I care about, and I want other people to see that too. See the value in people just because they're a person.
Yes, absolutely. We are one peoples here together on the planet.
One race, and that's the human race. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. What an honor and pleasure to chat with you, Loretta. We could keep on chatting. It's been absolutely fantastic to speak with you today. Now, if people want to connect with you, how can they do that?
I'm so easy. If you Google Loretta McNary, all kinds of stuff going to come up. All good right now. But my website is McNaryMedia.network or LorettaMcNary.com. I'm all over social media. I promise I'm so easy to find. If I ever did something wrong, I would be captured in a minute. So you can find me too. And I can take on more coaching clients, and I can help you become, to grow, to glow, and to flow, as can Aldwyn. So reach out to somebody.
Love it, love it. And Loretta McNary, I will put your link in there in the chat so people can access that. So coming up soon, LorettaMcNary.com. Here it is here. So connect with Loretta there, and you can connect with me at, all my links are here at linktree/Aldwyn, linktr.ee/Aldwyn. Are there any final words you'd like to say before we wrap up here today, Loretta?
Yes, give it a try. Whatever that's been in your spirit that keeps you up at night, whether it's write a book, go back to school, try that relationship over again. If you're healthy and it's not toxic, I say try. Give it a try. Try something different. Get past your fear. Get rid of the word fear and the word try. Just do it. Either you are or you aren't. I say you are, because you were born to win. You beat out 9 billion other things. So that's why I say you were born a winner. And we all were. And it goes deeper, of course. I just want people to live their life. Live your life. Get in the game. Life is not a spectator sport.
Yes, absolutely. It happens on the court. And, you know, the biggest regret of the dying is actually living a life not true to yourself. So this is about
you didn't do. It's not the hurt. It's not the bad things that happen. It's what you did not try to do. You did not try.
Yes, absolutely love that. And so watching this right now, I'd love to hear from you. What have you got out of this interview today? Pop in the comments. Let us know wherever you're watching this or listening to this right now. Let us know, what have you learned from this today? And what's something you're going to do now moving forward to make the most of your life? You know, what is it that gives you joy and lights you up? You know, one thing I'm going to get back into, Loretta, is playing the ukulele. It's something I love to do, is play the ukulele and sing. I went to Hawaii a few years ago and fell in love with the ukulele, and I just love it. And it's something I haven't put the time into lately. So, you know, and that's the thing, is that, you know, there's always so much to do. And so it's just making the time and allocating that and planning out your week, which
we all get 24 hours. So you can use them. You don't have to sleep 8 hours. You don't have to sleep 8 hours a day. Find something else that you want to do. If it relaxes you and not stresses you, then that's as good as sleep.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, there's plenty of time to sleep when you're dead, right? As some people say. So, you know, although some people say also that that it's important to get 7 hours sleep a night, etc., or 7.5. However, each to their own. Some people operate just fine on 4.5 or 6 hours.
That's me.
Yeah.
8 or 7. Give me 4 or 5. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Loretta, for coming on the show today. It's been such an honor and pleasure to interview you, and fantastic work you're doing. Keep up the amazing work. I look forward to connecting with you again moving forward. And for those watching here, please do reach out to Loretta. You can get her there on the LorettaMcNary.com. There, LorettaMcNary.com. You'll find her all over the internet. Phenomenal lady, so inspiring. As Gandhi says, be the change you wish to see in the world.
Amen.
And as I say, shine bright and light up all those around you. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Media Queen TV. Have a beautiful day or night wherever you are in the world. And remember to do more of what gives you joy and lights you up, so you can light up those around you. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.